Hello, everybody. Welcome to Trader Minute. It's great to have you on board. I'm Carl. Thanks for tuning in. And let's go take a look at our positions in the day. Let's look, first of all, before we get into that, let's look at the futures. Look at the futures here, and we see them how they reversed initially on the open today, quite a bit. The futures fell quite hard, right through this area, right through here. In a sense, trying to make a little bit of a comeback. Kind of been going sideways at about down about 5 points or so. As far as our positions go, let's go over stock charts here. Boeing, it's been up $1 plus, then it's been up 50 cents. Right now it's up 65 cents. It's been all over the board, just kind of hanging in there right around the 50 to 60, really 50 to 80 cent range up today. Not doing a whole lot. It's since it's just kind of again going sideways, have its little bit of ups and downs, and then with Morgan Stanley, it's up about 11 cents. This thing gapped up about 25 cents or so, like that, about a quarter or 30 cents this morning. Rolled over a little bit on what the market's doing. Really, Boeing and Morgan Stanley are both outperforming the market today, but just a little bit off their highs. Okay, and then the last one is Qualcomm. And we've been watching Qualcomm close, down about 27 cents right now. We're looking down at that Friday's low is where we're going to get out. The delta's low in here. It's not going to affect our option price too much, but we're definitely watching this, keeping our eyes on that. Hoping it's going to come back up, hold that $73 range by the end of the day. If we do make any changes here, we'll make sure everybody knows, how we do it here. So we'll let y'all know if we do. Yeah, I mean, it's just a little bit off the highs, and same with Boeing. Most of the market off their highs today. There's some nice looking charts out there, uh, right? Z, a nice looking chart. I won't go there. Well, I'll go there. Yeah, good looking chart uh, on Z today. A nice move. It's a trend writer bullish signal here, and also, it's not a perfect three methods rising pattern, but it's got the same type of um, same type of it's very similar to one, right? Here's the opening candle, and three methods rising, you would have seen another candle here. This is like a week and a half, and today where it's closing above the highs of the opening I'm sorry, not closing yet, but trading above those highs, very strong and some big volume on it. This thing looks really good because you chase into it. Well, we're sitting about 87.50. I would think that 90 would be a little bit of resistance for it. Really past 90, you got 95 to 100 written all over it. But check the news. I believe there was, I forget what it was now. There was some news out on this today. Other news out today was on Pandora. Locked in a deal with Ford and some other automakers. Some good things going on with this. A gap and run. This wouldn't be anything to trade right away. You know me, I'd always going to let this settle down after trading these gaps. Let them settle down for a few days, maybe a week or so, whatever it's going to take, and let them find a new level of support at a much higher level, not much higher point. So where this is breaking 30 today, if it didn't come back and fill this gap and holds 30 and looks to bounce up off of 30, then I'd let the initial volatility settle down, let the stock settle down, see where it's going to settle in. But we saw a similar price action over here when it went up here above 30. So I definitely need this one to settle down for a little while before I'd look to get in something like that. No, Max, you make a good point. Max, for those who are watching the recording, can't see what Max said. He says, Carl, don't you think we're sticking with Boeing a little bit too long? It's an aggressive challenge for trading, right? We're not losing money, but we're not making money. No, yeah, definitely. That's one of the reasons a while ago. Remember, we popped out of MRO, just wasn't going anywhere. There wasn't any fresh signals, so that's something we're looking at. We got out of MRO and went to another area with a fresher signal, right? And so, we're going to let Boeing play out today, but that's on the table. I agree with you, Max. Some of the stocks I've been looking at, I typed some of these in. Hewlett Packard, looking pretty good. Initially it came out, ran down below the 7-day moving average, and now trading up above it. And pushing up into the 28.5 mark. It's a good looking signal early on like this. I'd watching at the close. If it's closing up here towards the highs of the day, up above it, right around the 28.5 or above the 28.5, would be a beautiful looking bull vibe signal. So if I bring in the vibe template, you can see you got all the averages rising through here, indicators themselves rising. It's a good looking setup, especially after the reversal candle and pushing higher above the highs from right over here. And that's what I look for these. If it pushes up above those highs, very nice looking bullish signal, which is probably set to run higher. Price target, the initial one, it would probably run up to around the $30 area. It's about $1.50 above it where it's at now. And near-term options would pay pretty handsomely about with that type of a move. Yeah, I mean, look at Apple. It's had a nice reversal today. So look here, and you can see it's just closing above the 7-hour moving average. But so this is an hourly chart. So this is a 7-hour moving average. Got a very similar thing over here and reverse. So I wouldn't be sold that this is the bottom and now it's going to start running higher. It did come down to the 540 mark and is holding that level, which is positive. I go back over here to a vibe, but it's still trading below the 7 on the daily. But now this one, when it takes off, sometimes, man, when it takes off, it just shoots and runs. And of course, most people that traded Apple know that how fast this thing can move. A little bit, or I mean, I couldn't argue anybody going long here. I would just be a little bit on a little bit more upside confirmation than one day up isn't kind of be like we saw. Let me scroll down a little bit. Where one day up isn't what we're going to see what we saw over here on this candle right there. Back in late December, we had one day up. It's a pretty nicer looking reversal candle right here. Basically, this day was just retesting 560, where it dropped below 560, comes up to test it. Next day, gaps down below it and ran a little bit. It was a pretty bearish sign, but we're in a little bit of reversal candle, so I might put a little bit more into this. But this is pretty tempting around here to go bullish. I'm just be a little bit. I might need another day of confirmation. Thanks, Craig. And then Facebook, yeah, another one I've been watching today is Facebook. Facebook, they had a reiterated buy rating. The price target was lifted to 65 from 55. And you look at this technically, it's a trend right or bull. No, sorry, a vibe bull signal where you got all the averages rising. And it looked like, after a run like this, to have a little bit of a sell-off just right in line. Just really, it was a pretty steep sell-off as far as how fast it dropped, but slowly starting to work its way back up, pushing above the 7. It's a pretty bullish move here on Facebook. I don't think they're done as far as an uptrend here. Yeah, and you could even say that there's a little bit of a rounded bottom pattern, cup with handle pattern. You can see the cup, a little bit of a handle up here, and today pushing higher is a very positive signal here for Facebook. And that could run quite a ways given the price action right there. This could run up to 60. Once it gets through 57.5, 60 would be right in line with it. With a price target, most of the time when you see people make price targets, if it starts getting close, they'll raise it. Doesn't mean it's going straight to 65 just based on someone's opinion. But right here is a pretty bullish sign for Facebook. And it's got to close up in this range, right? You'd like to see it close well above that 7. The volumes are just fairly average. By the end of the day, it might be okay volumes. Okay, BID. You can see how it let's look a little bit closer here. Past resistance right here at 53. Okay, and remember, I always say that most times, not all the time, but most times when stock breaks those levels, they'll come back and retest the level. Well, they broke it really a couple days last week. They barely broke it on probably Friday, just maybe Thursday. Get rid of that. Yeah, they broke it. Well, what would that have been? Anyways, they broke it a few days ago, and today it's pushing back below it. Pretty bearish if it breaks through this $53 level, and especially if it gets down below that 7-day moving average, would pretty bearish that it's not ready to hold 53 yet. The sellers have come out, but if it can, by the end of the day, if it can hold 53, I would, if I was in a trade here, if it could hold 53, I wouldn't exit. But if it closes down in this range today, I'd probably get out, just because it doesn't look like it's ready to go if you get that. The volume's extremely light on it today, so we'll watch it by the end of the day and see if it closes below it. Again, I'd like to see it hold 53 or at least the 7 by the end of the day today to stay bullish on it. But it'd be short-term weakness if it did drop down below 53 and closed right around this range. It'd show some short-term weakness. SPWR. Yeah, nice run up here. Let's zoom in on this. All the indicators are rising here. It's had some strong volumes come into it over here. Big push up above 30 like that. And it's getting up here. You can see the upper range. The past resistance was right there around 34. Well, it's doing something here which we'd call bullish consolidation. Gaps up and runs up big on some big volumes, and has run slightly higher and just kind of going sideways. Now look what it's doing. It's allowing the 7-day moving average to creep up close to it. If I was bullish here, I wouldn't get out yet. If I was in a trade on this calls, I wouldn't get out yet. If I had a nice gain right here, I wouldn't let it go too far down here before I took it. But if it just keeps going like this, sideways, and lets that 7 catch up with it, there's a good chance it's going to bounce back up off that 7 and continue to run higher. The big volumes right here could mean, as it's coming up to the 34, that it could break those levels. Even today, if you look at the volume, it's some pretty decent volume today. It's probably going to equal Friday's volume here, up above that 50-day moving average I got in there on volume. So the volumes look good. It's just holding its own. There's people trying to sell. Obviously, you can see how the candles come here. They get lower by the day, people selling, but the buyers are stepping in to just buy it back up. That's where you get this bullish consolidation. So just let it go here and see that 7 catches up with it. It might even give another entrance to get into it as that 7 catches up. So if I just kind of draw in there what I'm talking about, let's say that the 7 kind of comes up a little bit like this, and eventually you see a day where it hits that 7 and bounces back up off of it after maybe a few more days of this, maybe slightly down or sideways, and you see that action like that. It's very bullish to see that, and that would be another entrance to get in if you're not already in it. But yeah, it's a good looking chart. Thanks, AK. All right, next one. Yeah, another nice looking chart here. Let's zoom in on this. You got a positive, you don't see it. I don't believe you can see that on your chart. Positive MACD signal. You can see that on your chart. Nope. Okay. Yeah, I think you can see that. It's got a positive. Now that's not always, run out and buy when you see a positive MACD signal. Now the thing I like about this with the MACD, a very bullish sign for it. Okay, well the MACD is down there as 0, and it's got a bullish. Let me zoom in on you here so you can see that better. 0 is a pretty important level for the MACD. Whenever you see the MACD rising above 0 is bullish, and when it dropping below 0 is bearish. Now this is a gap down, so don't look at that one, but that's for the most part And we're seeing this, it's slowly coming down. You get a positive signal today with the black crossing up over the red, and now it's looking like it might hold zero, which would be very positive for it. But beyond that, look at the rate of change, just flatlined. But the big resistance level here, right around 68. I'll call it 68. It's probably, well, you could say 69. Okay, 69. That's been past resistance for it now for a couple months. It tried to get through it one day, never did hold it, right? But now it's coming up on it again. Pretty slow, steady move getting up to it this time. A break of this would be very positive. If I put in Trend Rider, see where that's coming in on the Trend Rider. Yeah, it's just starting to pierce that upper band, but it's going to have to hold the highs of the day before I'd get, it's coming up on fairly light volume. I had one decent volume day here, but other than that, not real heavy volume there. So 70 would be the number here. It's not that far. We're only 45 cents, 35 cents away from 70. That would, if I was bullish on, if I was in a trade here, I'd watch 70 really close. If it didn't look like it's going to get through, I'd exit and take the gain. Right as far as an entrance right here now, it's a little bit overextended as far as away from the 7 right now. It's a good looking bullish reversal today. It ran down lower and pushing back higher. Watch the volumes. They have strong volumes, but by the end of the day, it's gonna give you a better chance of it breaking 70. But right here, I mean, if it closed right here today, definitely don't get out. Just watch it tomorrow and see as it coming up here to 70. It could max. It could break out above 7. It's breaking out above resistance if it can close here. Watch the volumes. It's going to give you more of an indication if it can break up through that $70 area. All right. Another stock I've been looking at, Cisco. Yeah, it's sold off. Earlier on, got to watch this. Earlier on, it was jumping up here off of 22. So it's had a nice rally. A big downtrend all through this time here. And now it's starting to come back up. Nice action right here. They've had some pretty bad earnings announcements. This gap, they've been a couple bad quarters. So what you're watching for here is a higher low and a higher high to be stepped in. If this happens to be a higher low here, and it closes above this candle over here, would give you some pretty good confirmation. So above the, I don't know, 24, 22, 30 area, if it can close above that, then you call this a locked in, and it could come up here towards probably up there towards the 23 to $23.50 area. Be about the next place it could run up to. But that's a nice little run here. If it starts to break back down below the 7, it'd be pretty bearish for it. But right now it's still hanging in there. Okay, so as far as our positions, look them over real quick. Morgan Stanley, it's up about 4 cents. They're pulled back a little bit. And then Boeing, up 22 cents, so they're pulling back. So, and look at Qualcomm, down about 24. It's dropped and holding its own. Qualcomm, it hasn't really gone too far beyond that. Let's look at this in this chart here. It's dropped down at this point and just kind of gone sideways between 72.60 and 72.70 is where it's just kind of range bound in that area right now. So we'll keep our eyes on Qualcomm. And then another stock that's been brought up in chat a lot today is Costco. Yeah, it's really giving it up. It's dropped below the 7 over here, and it just kept running below the 7. Yeah, you could say that this is a 3 black soldiers pattern here, where it's gapped up and run lower every day. The only problem with 3 black soldier patterns is a lot of times about that third soldier right there is where the support is found, and it can start to come back up, because right now it's about $2 just over $2.50 away from the 7. So there's a good chance of some consolidation. 116, it's got a little bit of support around 116 for it, but All right, and then also Dollar General. I know that some of you are in this. Dropping below the 7 today, and it's down below the lows of the day that we I put this on my top three. So this would be time to exit if it closes here. It'd be time to get out. If you look at this in an hourly to see about where it's at, so just watch it around this 7. You can see the support here. It's been out here around the $60 area, and see if you can get a bounce out of here off of 60 is what you'd be looking for here. First Solar with their downgrade today, big downgrade. Sold off and has just kind of gone sideways. If you look at this on a daily, man, it's down almost 10%, 9.5% today off the downgrade by Goldman Sachs. Pretty harsh downgrade it received today. It's given it to some of the other solars there, like Solar City. And then Priceline. Now Priceline was down $9-10 earlier, and then it went up about $1.50, maybe $2, and then just kind of sideways. Now this, if it closed here, it's got the same characteristics of a dragonfly. It's not a true dragonfly doji, but it had the same type of characteristics as a dragonfly. Let me bring in the trend rider here. All right, so that it's close to a dragonfly, but not quite there. It's still in. If you're looking at this as far as where that lower Bollinger Band is, even if it closed here, you're still inside that lower Bollinger Band, which means you could stay in the trade until it closed back above it. But that's a little bit of a bullish candle right there. See where we've got quite a bit of time left till the market closes today. But see what this does. If it closes up above, towards the highs of the day and closes inside that the lower Bollinger Band like that, then I'd probably exit and take whatever you got on the trade. But Priceline has showed quite a bit of weakness. Just this is one you don't want to hang out too long if it starts to show a little bit of bearish signs. Yeah, Craig, if it showed some bullish signs, a bullish candle, this is one you don't want to stay in it an extra day, because you can pop, as Craig probably knows. It can pop when it starts to hit a little bit of support. So watch it. This candle right here, if I had a gain, I'd probably just take it. It might continue to go down. It's still in the lower Bollinger Band, but I don't know if I'd take chances because this thing moves too fast. Okay. All right. Okay, Slava, good. All right, any other stocks anybody wants to look at out there? One thing I've been watching today is the gold miners. See what they're doing. Here's Goldcore. A little bit of a sell on Friday. Celg. Okay, thanks, Trader Doc. Now this is kind of early on for a Goldcore here, but you notice it when it gapped up like that on last week, about Thursday of last week. Gaps up like this on commodities, jumping pretty big. Gold was up that day. And a little bit of a sell-off on Friday, and now we're seeing it push back up. It's kind of early action to call, okay, that's the bottom, and now it's starting to head back up. But some of these stocks in this range, here's First Majestic Silver, very similar to a Goldcore. Watch this area. If you get a pop out of here, they'll really run. And AG has been one of the, and Goldcore have been some of the ones that have shown the most strength for about the last month. They're really hanging in there. Okay, so watch the area. It's not quite ready yet for any type of an entrance, but watch this area. Celgene. This is an interesting one here. Celgene, Gilead, and a couple others were upgraded by Citi. They upgraded a bunch of pharmaceuticals, and they downgraded. Citi also downgraded SRPT, ARIA, and Acor. Goldman Sachs downgraded Celg to a sell. today, and that's put a lot of pressure on them. I guess they're outweighing anything that Citi came up with them upgrading them today. But Goldman Sachs downgraded them to a sell, and down they go about 4%. It's pretty bearish gap right here. If you're bullish here, I don't. Man, the thing is, where it gaps like this, everything changes. The risk changes, right? Because you already taken a big loss, so how much you have left at risk is going to change. The delta is going to change. There's a lot of things that's going to change here. The best you could hope for is it holds that lower band, holds this $160 level, and tries to come up. But right now, it's got some pretty heavy volume. Look at the volume on it. Some pretty heavy volume here today, which is not a good sign. But you notice it's not breaking 160. At this point, if I happen to be in calls here, I might give it 160, where it's already gapped over any type of a stop we might have had. I might give it 160. If it breaks that, then I'd exit. But right now, I'd hope that lower Bollinger Band can hold as support, as well as 160, and hope that it's going to come back up. That's a pretty, yeah, that's right, Steve. Who cares what Citi says? Goldman's, they're kind of the powerhouse in the upgrades and downgrades. When they talk, especially these sell. I mean, the sell downgrade, First Solar took a major one. They went from a buy to a sell. That's a about face reversal. But man, oh yeah, River Rat, good one. Okay, UNH. And this was on my top three from last Friday as well. And just a reversal. I looked and find some news on them, but the whole area is down. The whole group's down. Maybe I should look at some of the other ones and see if they had news on them as well, like a Cigna or a Humana or something like that, and see if they had any news out of them. But just sold right off. It's off the lows. I'd watch it, give it till the end of the day. If it closed here, if I was a bullish position on this, I'd exit. But right now, watch it and see if it can close back up here around 75. If it gives me that by the end of the day, I'd stay in there. But if it closed right here, I'd exit. Okay, that would be where the stop was. Now, one of the things, this sold off a little bit into the close, but again, it doesn't mean it's gonna sell off like it did today, but it just lowers the chances of it running higher. Last Friday when we were looking at this, it was trading up a little bit higher, but towards the end of the day, sold off a little bit. On these, I'd like to see them close at least above that prior candle right there on those, but still just a little bit of a sell. Watch it and see where it goes by the end of the day, River Rat. Thanks. And thanks for your email. CSIQ, another solar. Okay, now this, watch it by the end of the day. This is very similar to, it's another dragonfly here. It's close to it, but this time the dragonfly is at a top, which means, it just means short-term weakness. It's not a perfect dragonfly. Perfect one would just look like a capital T with no line coming out of the top. Okay. It's a little bit overextended right now. The 7's down here at 32. It's trading at 36. So there's some chance of some consolidation here back towards the 7. Bullish with consolidation would be just a few days where it kind of goes down slightly and lets that 7 catch back up with it, and then bounce higher. At this point, it might come back to the 34. I mean, and come to that level and try to make a move back higher, which would, again, that wouldn't be any type of a major pullback. I don't see any big bearish signals here, other than it's due for a little bit of a consolidation after that nice run. But the volumes remain really strong, which is very positive for it. So watch it by the end of the day. If it could turn and go positive, at least go up and close towards the highs of the day, a very bullish candle. Right now, the candle pattern suggests some short-term weakness. It's still in that upper Bollinger Band. If you want to use that as a stop, I couldn't argue staying in. Still in that upper Bollinger Band, but with the nice volume right here, yeah, this looks to run higher. ADEP. All right, so this one, or this candle right here, got a long ways away from the 7. And so right now, where it's just slightly down, a little bit up, slightly down. This would be considered bullish consolidation. The seven's catching up with it. I wouldn't run it out of this trade yet. If I was in a bullish position here, I'd let it go and see where this is going to take you. It's inside the upper Bollinger Band here, but the seven's not that far below it. And a day like this, a day or two where it's just slightly down like that, isn't anything to worry about. But yeah, you let that seven catch up with, and you get a move up there where it comes down and kisses back up off the seven and starts to run higher. This thing's probably heading up towards the $20 area, but right now it's down 8 cents. It was a little bit higher. It's kind of rolled over like everything else out there. So yeah, nothing to worry about there, Craig. S&P down about 5. It seems to be hanging out there. Okay, so let's go one back. Look up about 44 cents here on Boeing, Morgan Stanley up about a dime, and then Qualcomm down just 16 cents. So it's pulling off the lows there. So we're going to keep these positions. Again, the one we're watching about and most concerned about is Qualcomm. We'll keep an eye on this and see if it gets down to those lows of Friday, and we'll exit if it gets down in there. But right now it's just going sideways. Here it is. So it's broken up out of this little bit of a channel it's been on right here. I'd like to see this clumb up towards the $73 area by the end of the day. Would be a positive here for Qualcomm. Okay, if you guys have anything else you want to look at, I'll be on chat with you. Just reading through some of the chats, sorry. Yeah, another stock. And Joe, congratulations if you're in Medtronic. Man, 2 gaps like this. Probably some news in it, I'm sure. Maybe last Friday, some kind of news, maybe Thursday night after the bell or Friday morning. Get those gaps like that, and it's still gapping and running. It's still astronomical volume for it. And it's, man, I would have said on Friday, that's a long ways away from 7. Watch for some consolidation yet, but look at this gap higher again today. Gapped about another 90 or so cents higher. And but it's due for some consolidation. Right now it's about $1.50 or so away from the 7, maybe a little bit more than that. But it's due for some type of consolidation. But man, nice trade. All right, everybody. I'll be on chat with you all day. If you have any questions, go ahead and chime in there. You can also reach me through email. It's carl@traderminute.com. Okay, thanks everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.